Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good evening. The learning outcome for today's topic is, at the end of this topic, students should be able to explain control structure, and the control structure that will be discussed for today is selection for dual and multiple selection. In a dual selection, the condition will be checked and we are going to choose between two actions. If the condition is true, then we will perform action 1, and otherwise, if the condition is false, then we are going to perform action 2. Okay class, this is the general format for you to write a pseudocode and how to draw a flowchart. Okay, so we have here the keyword if, and next to the keyword if is the condition, and if the condition is true, the first action will be performed. If the condition is false, the second action will be performed. Okay, and don't forget, if you draw a flowchart, you have to make sure that you label for true and false condition. And now let's refer to the example 1. Find if a number is odd or even. If the number is odd, so we are going to display odd number. Otherwise, we are going to display even number. And this is the problem analysis in order to solve this problem statement. Okay, this is how we are going to write the pseudocode. As usual, okay, we begin our pseudocode by using the keyword start and end our pseudocode by using the keyword stop. Okay, the next thing is we need to have the input in our pseudocode. So as usual, read number for the process instead of in the form of sentence. Okay, this is how we write a pseudocode. If number is divisible by 2, okay, make sure we have the keyword if, and the next to the keyword is the condition. And if the condition is true, meaning to say the number that we have entered is can be divisible by 2, so it is a even number. And if the condition, or if the number that we have entered cannot be divisible by 2, or the condition is false, so the second action will be performed, which is the print odd number. And make sure when we have a block of if, and we need to close it with an if. To convert from a pseudocode to a flowchart, we will simply follow the rules that we have done for the sequence control structure, meaning to say the only difference between sequence and selection control structure is the condition shape, meaning to say for condition it will be put inside a diamond and we doesn't need to write down the keyword if. But make sure when you draw a flowchart, you must label true and false condition. Okay, if you doesn't label true and false, so we will not know the right flow of your flowchart. Okay, now let's look into the multiple selection. A multiple selection will check many conditions, meaning to say in multiple selection we have more than one conditions. All the conditions will be checked one by one. However, when we check the condition and the condition is true, the action will be performed and we will stop checking the rest if we have other condition. And this is the multiple selection general format in order for you to write the pseudocode. So this is what I have mentioned earlier. So we have more than one condition, and if we refer to the slide, we have condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. And if the any condition that we have checked is true, then the action will be performed and we will stop checking the rest of the condition. This is the general format when you want to draw a flowchart. Okay, we can see on the slide that we have more than one condition. So in the slide we have condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. If we test the first condition, then the first action will be performed, and the rest of the condition will be skipped. And this is how you draw the flowchart for multiple selection. Okay class, now let's refer to the example. Okay, create a program to accept a number from user, and based on the number we are going to determine whether that number is a positive number, a negative number, or that number is equal to 0. Based on the problem analysis, okay, that we can refer on the slide, okay, the output will be positive number, or a negative number, or 0 number, and the input is the number, and the process will be determine whether the number is positive, negative, or 0 based on the input. So how we are going to convert from problem analysis into the pseudocode. So this is how we write the pseudocode. And okay, there's a reminder here. Okay, no condition at the last else. Okay, no condition at the last else. So another thing that you need to remember is when you write a pseudocode for a multiple selection, the condition only will be right when we have an if statement. Okay, the condition only will be written if we have the if statement. Okay, for example here, so if else, and then we have another if next to else, right? So if else, yeah. So this is how we write the pseudocode, and make sure no condition at the last else. So after else, we just put the action that need to be performed. So in this case, it can be a positive number, it can be a negative number, and it can be a 0 number. Alright, so how we can get the positive number? Okay, if the number is greater than 0. How we can get the negative number? If the number is less than 0. And we doesn't need to mention if the number is equal to 0 because this is the last else. And this is how you draw the flowchart. Make sure when you draw a flowchart, don't forget to label these two keywords. Keyword true and false. Then we can know the right flow of the flowchart.